Hi, I'm Narcissus, and I want to share something that has changed my life forever. I was born on a small island in southern Brazil called Florianopolis, also known by many as the Island of Magic. Currently, I work as an English teacher and have been teaching the language for over 25 years. But what brings me here today isn't just that. It's something much deeper. A few years ago, I went through what is called a near-death experience, or NDE. I didn't even know such a thing existed, but it was so intense and real that it changed everything inside me. Today, I see that experience as a gift, an impulse to change the course of my life. Before that, I felt lost and unmotivated, like I was just going through the motions. But after it, everything became clear. That's why I want to share my story with you, not just to tell it, but to inspire anyone who feels lost, just like I did. This happened about 3 years ago, in the middle of the COVID pandemic. I was seriously ill, so weak that I truly thought I might die. I lost so much weight. My body looked like a skeleton, and I didn't even have the strength to get out of bed. I spent an entire week confined to bed, unable to eat or drink anything. Every day was a struggle to keep breathing. My fever was incredibly high, and I felt my body slowly shutting down. The truth is, deep down, I was already preparing to leave this world. I had accepted that maybe this was the end. But then, one night, something incredible happened. Just before falling asleep, I felt like I was leaving my body. It was strange and at the same time, light. I felt fear. What is happening to me? The next day, the feeling grew even stronger. This time, I completely left my body. I realized I had left everything behind. But do you know the most surprising part? I didn't feel pain or fear. I just felt light, free, and at peace. It was as if I was floating upward toward the sky. A huge sense of relief washed over me. Everything heavy had vanished. That's when I saw myself in a strange scene. I was above a road, watching a car accident. There was a body lying on the ground. At that moment I thought, what is this? Why is that man there? But I quickly realized it wasn't me, it was someone else. I felt a bit lost, not exactly sure where I was or why I was there. Yet something inside me said, everything is okay. I was calm. It's even funny to think about because many people fear death. They believe death is the end, that they lose everything. But what I experienced was quite the opposite. Many think dying means losing who we are, losing consciousness, identity, everything we've built. But the most incredible thing about my experience was realizing it's not like that at all. I knew exactly who I was, but not as a body, rather as a spirit. I continued to be myself, without fear, without confusion. It was like remembering something that had always been there. And just then, someone called me. It felt like an angel or a very powerful presence. I couldn't see their face, but their energy was so strong, so welcoming, that I knew right away. They knew everything about me. And even before I could ask a question, they already knew what it would be. I was about to ask if we never really die. And they answered, yes, you will never die. There is no death. I was shocked. Seriously, Zarenia, why do so many people fear this? That's when they said, I'll show you. And without warning, they went over to a huge vase, the kind you find outside shopping centers, and lifted it effortlessly. Then they threw it forcefully against a pole. Boom! The vase shattered into 1,000 pieces. Of course I felt fear. Why did you do that? I asked, my heart pounding, and they calmly replied, to show you that death is not the end. Then they explained, the vase represents the body. It breaks, but what's truly valuable is what it holds inside. The soil, the root, the plant. And that I can put into another container and life goes on. I looked at them, thinking that was it. Yes, they said, that's right. There's no pain, there's no hunger. You just keep moving forward. I was speechless. My God, Why do we have so much apprehension about this here on earth? But they didn't give me an answer. He didn't say a word. He simply took my arm gently and led me to a place that so far I call paradise. I don't know how I got there, but suddenly I was there. And what I saw was beyond words. The place was breathtakingly beautiful. The colors were so vibrant they seemed to dance in the air. The grass was a deeper green than anything I had ever seen. The flowers showed shades that don't even exist on earth. Everything glowed with a soft light, as if love itself had painted the world. Then, he showed me something even more captivating. He wanted me to understand what we achieve on the other side and took me to a vast ballroom. Inside, hundreds, maybe thousands of souls danced in a circle, all moving in perfect harmony, as if the entire universe were singing. It was serenity, joy. It was life beyond this life. And the most fascinating part was that in this vast hall filled with light and happiness, all these souls interacted just like we do here, but without speaking a single word. Communication happened entirely through telepathy. You felt the words, the ideas, the emotions, all at once directly in your heart. It was natural, fluid, as if it had always been that way. They formed a circle, a small group swirling together in perfect cosmic harmony. Then one of those souls beckoned to me with a friendly gesture, inviting me to join them, and I accepted. I took part in their movement and let myself be carried away. It was like being part of a happiness club where only music, laughter, and love filled the air. However, something strange happened. Looking at myself, I realized I had no body. I had a form, but it was translucent, like made of light. I could see right through myself. And the most surprising part was that despite that, I retained perfect awareness of who I was. My consciousness remained just as it had always been. I was still Narcissus, not the body of Narcissus, but the being, the essence. It was truly revealing, as I understood that identity never gets lost. We remain who we are. The same consciousness, only freed. After a while, I started feeling a bit tired from dancing. I was out of breath, even without lungs. It was more like a sensation telling me I needed to take a break. I noticed some benches nearby and decided to sit down. I leaned back, took a deep breath, or at least felt like I was breathing, and relaxed there peacefully. That's when a being approached me. It stood out from the others. It had a wise, strong, almost angelic presence. It sat down beside me and in a soothing voice asked, "Are you tired?" I answered, "Yes, a little." It smiled and said, "This happens to you down on earth, you know?" I was surprised. "What do you mean?" And it explained, "You get exhausted because you're always invited to do things you don't want to do, and despite everything, you say yes. In reality, you should learn to say no. And this builds up. It drains your energy until you feel worn out. That's why sometimes you feel sad, because you force yourself to live in a way that isn't true to you. Sometimes you just need to put yourself first, to learn to listen to yourself." This revelation hit me deeply. It was such a simple yet profound truth, perfectly capturing the life I had been living until that moment. The being next to me continued teaching me about life on earth, explaining how we often say yes out of fear, when we should actually be saying no. Instead, we push ourselves to say no when we really ought to say yes. It clarified that choices made from the ego's fear are what leave us confused and depressed. It told me I needed to learn to choose based on what comes from my heart, not from what my mind or ego say. When it said this, I remembered how afraid I was of disappointing others, especially my father. I'd say yes to everything, even when I didn't want to, just to avoid conflict. But what touched me most about this experience was the music, a melody that played continuously wherever I went. The melody seemed to surround me, and every part of me vibrated with it. It was like I was overflowing with happiness, a pure joy I had never felt before. I even thought of a volcanic eruption, as if the music was bursting inside me with ecstasy. I couldn't stop asking everyone around me what that music was. It was so beautiful, so captivating, that I just kept asking. Even though I'm a musician, I couldn't even begin to play a single note of that melody when I returned. It was unbelievable because the music was so unique, so unlike anything I had ever heard before. I only knew one thing, that music had a profound impact on me. It helped me forget all the suffering of my past life, as if it acted like a balm, a release. So I felt that this place was where I had always longed to be, as if I had finally found my true home. And after all that dancing and so much learning, the being led me to another space. It wanted to show me the sun. I had always been fascinated by its light, that golden glow, that warmth that seemed to surround everything. So as we moved toward the sun in this other place, my heart was full of anticipation. It felt like I was finally on my way home. But suddenly, an invisible hand stopped me, not harshly, but with gentle firmness. And a voice said to me, "You are not ready." I didn't understand. Ready for what? We have to go back. Go back where? And the answer came calmly but hit me like a punch. Back to life on Earth. At that very moment, my heart clenched. No way. I didn't want to go back. I began to cry like a child. I stomped my feet. I begged. I pleaded with all my might. I didn't want to leave this extraordinary place, but the answer was clear. Your mission is not yet complete. Those words echoed inside me. What mission? All I wanted was to stay there in that space where love was constant, where everyone welcomed me with kindness, where I felt part of something greater. But no, I had to go back. And I returned carrying a sadness that stayed with me for a long time. Because after experiencing all of that, coming back here felt like waking from a wonderful dream, only to find myself in a cold universe. Here, people judge, compare, classify. This is good, that is bad. This one is smart, and that one is foolish. I've always felt like a piece that doesn't quite fit in among my family and friends. Often, I felt like a stranger, an outsider on this earth. But this experience revealed something deeply meaningful to me. I am unique, just like you, just like each and every one of us. In the grand scheme of things, there is no competition. No one tries to be better than anyone else. Each of us is one of a kind. Everyone matters. You are free to be whoever you want to be and to follow the path that's right for you. For me, that meant dance music and color. Meanwhile, those who live in tunnels find loved ones, meet old friends. As for me, I didn't encounter anyone I knew, but I felt a deep sense of brotherhood. Strangely, I still can't remember their faces. They reached out to me, they were present, yet their faces have faded from my memory. Just like this music, this war melody that filled everything, has also disappeared. No matter how hard I try, I struggle to recall it. All I have left is the memory of that feeling, an unconditional love. After this experience, something curious happened. I discovered a man named Peter Sterling. He shared a story about meeting angels, and even though he had never played the harp before, he learned to play it because of them. I found that beautiful, so similar to what I had experienced, that I started listening to these pieces. To my surprise, some melodies strongly reminded me of the one from the other side, the one that still echoes within me, even if I can't reproduce it. Peter said that when we play this music in our home, it's like nurturing a blooming garden that attracts butterflies. In this case, the music attracts angels. Every day I began playing these compositions, and little by little I felt changed. Although my eyes haven't seen an angel, deep inside in the silence, I felt their presence. They are always there, walking alongside us, even if we don't notice them. But it's important to understand one thing about angels. They cannot interfere with our choices. If they were all-powerful, everyone would be filled with wealth, happiness, and success. The truth is, it all depends on us. They can inspire us through prayer, meditation, and the whispers of our intuition, but they cannot make decisions for us. They can't sign contracts, decide our paths, or change our lives without our consent. This is one of the most important lessons I've learned. We live on a very dense planet where our actions have real consequences, which is why everything that happens here depends on our will. They accompany us, but it's up to us to take the next step. Above all, we must believe in ourselves. If you sense the presence of a higher power, whether it's a force of love, not the God many know through religions burdened with demands, judgments, and reproach. God doesn't want money. God doesn't expect you to be perfect or powerful. This divine force simply wants you to enjoy this life, because one day you will move on to another. Nothing we experience here is lost. Every action, every emotion, every experience prepares us for something greater. Death is not the end. It is merely a transition, a passage. If death didn't exist, why live as if it were real? Why postpone what brings you joy? What's stopping you? Family opinions, friends' judgments, our own ego? A friend once told me this: to live intensely is a sign of courage. To live freely, sincerely, and happily. That is our goal. And if you're here, maybe it's yours too. That's why many who have had a near-death experience come back transformed. They realize that true connection with the divine doesn't come from fixed formulas, but from silence, listening to the heart prayer, song, dance, and living authentically. Prayer becomes a direct path to their spiritual guide, and they stop fearing others' opinions, because the happiness they feel doesn't come from outside, but from within. It's a joy that rises from the heart and fills the whole being. That's why today I confidently say, whatever you do, do it with passion, presence, surrender, and honesty. People fear death as if it were the final end. But what they forget is that death is simply a change of scenery. We may vanish from some people's sight, yet at the same time we come alive in the eyes of others in different dimensions. We are made of nostalgia, that beautiful word that has even been adopted into other languages. We feel nostalgic when someone leaves, but deep down, we know the separation isn't forever. Life here is shaped by this dance between arrival and departure. That's why death touches us so deeply, not because it means an end, but because it reminds us of the vital bond we share with those we love, and that bond will never disappear. One day, while I was praying, something unexpected happened. Jesus Christ appeared and sat beside me. He didn't say much. He only spoke one sentence, but it was enough to touch my entire soul. Don't let this world take away your smile. Then he left. I cried for a week afterward. Jesus wasn't someone I usually followed, but since that day, he has become a spiritual friend. This message made me realize how much we let the world steal the purest parts of us. It's a bit like supporting a football team. We eagerly wait for a goal with every play. Yet often, we forget that the real game is happening inside us. We need to free ourselves from our ego. It's the source of so much suffering. It pushes us to constantly compare ourselves to others. And with the rise of social media, this only gets worse. We see others living, traveling, creating, and we start asking ourselves, why am I not doing that too? But most of the time, the truth is, you don't really want to. You only think you do because you've seen someone else doing it, and that's the ego trying to lead you down a path that isn't yours. The near-death experience I went through gave me something I didn't even realize I was searching for: a new hope. A deep desire to truly live, to be present, with meaning and fullness. That's why today, I'm sharing all of this with you, not to impress or create a mystery. I'm sharing this experience because I want you to understand. You too can undergo a similar transformation. And above all, You don't need to go through such an event to do so. There's no need to be caught between life and death. No need to be a victim of an accident or a serious illness. You can start changing right now. You can begin today. Transformation is within your reach without having to push the limits of existence. I never imagined I would have such a profound experience, and yet it happened. And when it did, it became clear. It was a chance for a fresh start, a clear sign that my life was the most precious gift I had ever received, and I couldn't afford to waste this gift on doubts, fears, and insecurities. No more living by questioning whether the path I'm on is the right one. No more waiting for others to love me in order to feel whole. I learned that everything begins inside us, that the first step is to love ourselves. When you connect with the divinity within you, the love of others comes naturally, effortlessly, and without expectations. It's inevitable. You just have to open your heart, because that's where everything begins. During my experience of life after death, I understood that the most meaningful conversations are not about tomorrow, but about the here and now. The future doesn't exist. The future is an illusion we feed day by day. When you reach the next day, it has already become today, and you continue chasing something that will never arrive. But there's a powerful secret in all of this. It's the present moment, and that's all we truly have. And when you begin to truly live in the here and now, everything changes. You awaken, and in awakening, you start to build a more authentic, lighter, and meaningful life. Do you know what else I learned? That often it's not worth confronting the people who have hurt us directly. Often the best approach is to speak to them in spirit, mentally saying, "I forgive you, I don't agree with what you did, but I hope you're happy. I don't need to live with you, but I respect you." It may sound strange, but it really works. There's an invisible time lag between what you send out and what comes back to you, but it does come back, and it comes back with love. So, to everyone listening right now, believe in yourself. Let the past fade away. Forgive, and experience the telepathy of the heart. You'll be amazed by what can happen. Embrace the divinity within you. When you do this, words become unnecessary. Everything will become clear as your soul starts to express itself, and it will do so with power. It expresses itself through truth, and it expresses itself with love, because every person who crosses your path reflects who you are. We're all here for the same purpose: to grow, to help, to love, to reveal the worth we carry inside. I'm convinced of this. I feel it's exactly what I'm seeking on my own journey. That's why every day, before I do anything else, before picking up my phone or responding to messages, before even saying hello, I close my eyes for a moment and pray. I pray silently and give thanks. I thank God for a new chance, a new day, for being here again, to breathe and to feel, because each day is unique. Each morning a fresh opportunity. When you entrust your suffering to God, it dissipates. When you connect with the divinity in your heart, what comes from you becomes art. Yes, we are all artists, each of us, because we have feeling hearts, and that's where art lives. It's not limited to paintings or songs. It's in how you look, speak, care for others, and love. Your very existence is a form of art, so express it. Don't suppress it. Don't underestimate yourself. And above all, love yourself. Love yourself. Love yourself. I say it 3 times because it's the seed of everything. When you truly love yourself, the whole universe begins to return that love to you. It's natural and inevitable, because the love you nurture inside is the same love that starts to bloom around you. And on this I have complete certainty. It's been my experience, a journey that began in silence, passed through pain and death, and brought me back with a new outlook on life. I sincerely hope it has touched you, that it can serve as a reminder that love is always the way, that you have worth, and that it's never too late to start over. If this message has spoken to your soul, please like this video, share it with those who need to hear it, and subscribe to the El Trollado channel for more true stories like this. You're not alone. We're all here together on this journey. You are loved, you are light, and you are exactly where you should be. Stay in the peace of God.